Hi, YouTube. Excuse my ratty appearance. I've been in and out of the house today, and first thing this morning, I cleaned after coffee, cleaned my uh, wood cook stove of its ashes so it'd be warmer tonight. I would like to play you something from Robin's Hood. Um, just funny, he has a take on trolls, what he said about the trolls needing attention too. Just cracked me up, and I was going to watch a part of his video and make a video and um listen to it, but I would like you to hear this. It's so funny, oddly funny, terrible.
Messed it up for a while. They screwed it up for a little bit. Then I came back around like, you know what? Even the trolls need some attention. Because they're the ones that are way lost. They're like way over there. They don't just go astray. They're like over there in the woods through the mud. And I know there's people that think that they're gonna get in this like position where they're in rulership.
Isn't that funny? They're way off through the over there through the woods in the mud. That was funny. So yeah. Um, it is cold out. I know I mentioned that, but unbelievably so for this time of year. I hope that came through on the audio. Um, if it didn't, forgive me, but I don't think I'll get a copyright strike because Robin wouldn't mind me saying, "Hey, go listen to Robin. He's a nice guy. He predicts a lot of stuff. He's got God in his heart. He believes in what he's doing, and that's trying to make a better world. And it's his platform to try and do that. And so I can't promote him enough. It's like, just even if you go and show him kindness and friendship, he'll appreciate it. So, yeah, very nice. So, anyway, um, I don't know really what my topic is today. I guess um, just the boundaries that I had to set with um, a loved one in my life that I've had to do many times is it's difficult, but limiting time with people that steal your joy, it's and they will turn it on you. They'll say it too, but you just got to deal with that too because God knows our hearts and um, you know I had a lady mention that she also has two sons, and I don't know if she's going through it with both, but I have. One seems to be getting better. Um, as far as, and that's a question that I asked Dr. Todd Grande about frontal lobe damage and narcissism, and being that I've noticed that it's passed on through the generations. Mother, daughter, mother, son, father, daughter, father, son. Even aunts and uncles participate in the demise of a child if you're in a narcissistic family. So, keeping your distance from them type of people really isn't a bad thing. It does lay a certain amount of guilt upon your shoulders because you couldn't help or fix that person, but there is nothing you can do, especially if they're not only harming you, but harming themselves and other people in their lives. And if they're 9 times out of 10, well, I guess I can't rate it exactly, but a lot of narcissists are criminals, and you definitely don't want to be affiliated or associated with that type of personality. So, yeah, it's scraggly. So, um, yeah, I've been doing a lot of studying on it, and many, many decades of soul searching on this subject and um, my thoughts on it, you know. And then, too, I watched a video of Dr. Todd's that is narcissism evil? And he finds that it isn't. It has components of it, is what I gathered he was saying, but it's not just strictly just that. Um, I would say that evil is more um, maybe a symptom. I don't know. I don't know. I find it correlating in the narcissistic personality, but you know, yeah, it's a lot of facets too to each person's personality. Everybody's different, whether they're what they would call a morbid narcissist would be like the strongest, or a vulnerable, which would be the least of them. You know, one's more, the morbid would be covert, totally undercover, and the vulnerable would be not so covered up about there. Or maybe I bet I got that backwards. I might have just, yeah, see, I'm not the pro. Dr. Todd Grande, he'd be the pro for that, you know. That may be one reason why I will never take that test. No, it depends. I'm sure I could find like correlating words to help me remember those things, like what they call them, like anagrams, you know, like arithmetic. A rat in a house may eat ice cream is how you spell it, with each letter at the beginning of each word, you know. But so like, or little songs that a person can make up to help you remember things. Or I used to do this right after I had my stroke to help me remember short term memory things. I wasn't even worried about the long time. I just wanted to survive day by day, is how bad I felt in my life at that time. So, or even upsets will bring on short term memory. I've noticed that in like one of my sons. Um, so like he forgot a lot of things, which might be a good thing to, and I did too in my life, and then remembered them when I was older. And evil people will try and use that one against you too. But I've kind of noticed that it may be a part of human progression, just naturally, that maybe we live so long and then we kind of put our memories in the cloud like a computer, like just stick them up there, and we can pull them down like software typically and normally. But when you've had that abuse, that connection is kind of cut right there. You may have to find another path around to get back in and have access, is what I found for myself. But anyway, on the things that I would help to for my short term memory is like, if I wanted to remember to take out, say, something for dinner, I would think the next time I look at the clock, I'm going to take that thing out for dinner, for supper, or whatever. And, or say if I went and put my lighter in the living room for a certain reason, just as an example for how I would do this, I would think, well, the next time I walk in the kitchen, I'm going to remember my lighter in the living room. So it gives me two things to draw from to remember that one thing, if that makes sense. I'll give you another example, like um, remembering to put my sunglasses in my purse. If I'm going to go somewhere, say I was in the kitchen and I wanted to remember to do that, I would think to myself, when I'm through cutting these vegetables or whatever, I'm going to walk in my room and do that. So I'm giving myself two commands for one thing. If you do more, I'm sure that would be confusing. I never really thought of trying that, or maybe I haven't. It didn't work. Can't recall right now. But isn't the human mind incredible? It's quite quite the mechanism, isn't it? You know, things that kills us emotionally is the connection between the mind and the heart. Now a narcissist doesn't have that problem. They got that wall up um, over their emotions, so they don't have to worry about them worries like heartache or they have it, but it's on a different level as far as what I've noticed. I should try in my life not to talk so much as a professional as a survivor, you know. But being around a lot of that type of thing and working with the emotionally handicapped, um, I pretty much know I excel in that area because of the knowledge base. You know, it's like if you just knew one person with schizophrenia, you would only have that one example to draw on. But if you know more than one, your observations are more clear. The same with like a psychopath. You know, it's like if you know somebody's capable of murder and then you meet another murderer, pretty soon you kind of recognize the symptoms, you know, for any individual abnormality, you know. So, anyway. Yeah. But I guess as far as the weather's concerned, I guess we're going to be going back to some warm weather this weekend, like 45 on Saturday or so, which is cool. That's really nice. Yeah. My horse had grown a nice coat now for winter. It's all thick and she's warm, and um, large animals contain their body heat better than smaller ones. So if you're outside with an animal or something, they're smaller than you, they're going to get colder quicker. So, like a horse, for instance, standing in the sun in the morning in the middle of freezing temperature with a coat on, she's perfectly fine. You know, people wonder how do they survive like that, but and I used to, you know, and it does make sense, but it's still cold. You know, if she was tiny, I would bring her in the house and teach her not to poop in the house. You know, I saw a really cute thing on guinea pigs, how cute they are. I've had two of them. One of them used the litter box, the other one we had to keep in a box. Well, what we did was my kids and I took several boxes and put them together. So we had like a runway. His name was Red. And he had a big box to sleep in and a little box to go potty in. And in between, in his runway, on one side was his food and water. Well, he'd have boo boos. But then with being a kid's pet, wasn't like when I just had mine. His name was Bugsy E. Dinger Haugen. Long story. Um, Bugs for short. But when I had Bugs, he was really pretty. He was kind of long haired, red and white one. And he used the litter box. He used to sleep next to me. He'd jump down. At first, he'd kind of crawl down upside down when he was little. And then he learned to jump down and his arms would be out. But he would climb back up the blanket like a little fireman, is what he looked like. It just was funny. Very funny. So, yeah, he was a cool pig. But his food and water were right outside his litter box on the other side. And because, unlike a dog or a cat, they're used to living in like burrows and they're not like they wouldn't walk around the house like a dog or a cat. He would just kind of waddle around in one area or be around me or something, but it's not like he was like climbing all over the house or anything. He just kind of hang around me, go and eat something and use his litter box and then come back and hang around me again. So they're not super active, not even like a hamster having a hamster wheel or anything. So as far as I know from having two of them, they run once in a while, like across the floor or something, but they don't really like jump and play like a kitty or a dog. They kind of, they'll pat each other or, you know, sit around smiling, but not even like a bunny. Bunnies are freaking crazy if you get a bunch of them together. So, um, like my yard bunnies, they wait till I'm looking out the window. Then one will jump over that one, and the other one will jump where that one jumped, and they jump over each other, playing bunny games and circling around and chasing each other. Then they'll chase back and jump again, and there's funny bunnies. So, but I didn't notice guinea pigs really with any of that really playful tendencies. They're more like a little old man or a little old woman that is not very active, like sitting in their rocking chair. I understand you, Pa. Yeah, me too. And that's the extent of their conversation. It's kind of like a guinea pig, just so. Yeah, they're cute though. Some of them like to be held. Um, my kid's one liked to be held, but not by strangers, and he would pee on them. So, um, yeah. So, and my bunny, my last bunny I had, Jack, he used the litter box until his kitty died, his best friend, and then he stopped going in the litter box and I had to put him in his cage. But he had a porch and I could leave the cage door open and he wouldn't jump down unless I let him down. And he would walk on a leash, but he would sometimes potty on Doug's lap, and it wasn't out of like ignorance or anything. It was more dominating, you know. So, um, and Doug would have a mess, and he'd bite Doug a lot too. He bit me like to scare me. I'd turn around like if I was in reach of him, and he'd sneak up, and then he'd laugh. And they actually do talk, and um, they use sign language and they read lips. He looked, see if you know what this was. Doug was eating in front of him one time. Usually we'd give him like a bite of bread or something. And Jack looked at him and went, really? And then he go, like, oh. And they make little noises too, and they sort of have like a half grunt and a half purr, and you know, so he would take sticks and make X's. Like I let him play with sticks, or I'd get a piece of they eat bark off of brush up on the edge of the woods and stuff where they live in the winter. You'll see the bushes trimmed down, and a lot of people have problems with rabbits with ornamental bushes and different things in their yard, like we did. We had two I don't remember the scientific name for them, but they're called burning bushes. And we had two of them, one on each side of the house, because in the fall they turn just red and they're really beautiful, kind of look like a giant flower. But my bunnies really love those. And I think it starts with an E and it's right on the tip of my tongue. But then on the other hand, I have another one called a bridal wreath. And they'll trim it down, but they never really get to the inner one, the biggest stem of it. They don't trim it down, and it's pretty old and pretty tall now. And they've never really just cleared that. Oh, I think a deer got into them. Erroneous. That's what they're called. I knew it was with a E. Erroneous. Yeah, non existing plant. No. erroneous. So, but yeah, yeah. One year we had really deep snow, and that's when the deer and the bunny attacked the last one. The first one didn't take because the land was real barren farmland, and even if we fertilized or it may not just may not have liked the spot, you know. So sometimes when you plant stuff, it doesn't always take, you know. So then you might try like another different type of plant, or try putting that same type of plant in a different area. And I went through a lot of money doing all of that around here, but I mean, the money wasn't the issue. It was putting something in the ground and wanting it to grow, and then it wouldn't grow, and I'd have to figure out something else, you know. Well, I guess too, yeah. And being a young mom at that time, money was an issue, but you know, it wasn't gonna make me or break me buying a plant. You know what I mean? So yeah, and I'd like get paid and buy one thing or sometimes a little more, or even trade with friends, different things. So to put stuff around here. Let's see what else is going on. I bet that Dr. Todd Grande is making a video or looking up what I asked him about that. And it'll be really interesting. In fact, I saw some of his um, videos saying how, like, from generations and how people are raised, his opinion of how narcissists are made, you know, that that all kids are narcissists, you know, like grandiose narcissists, you know. Um, Look at me. Um, I didn't do anything wrong, you know, but they usually grow out of it. The older we get, the more we grow out of it. Then I was looking at a video he had on the aging narcissist, and some people think they get better with age, like they'll calm down or whatever. I have found just, and he had likened it to a boxer, and I found this analogy really good. He said, like, say if you've got an older boxer in the ring versus somebody that's like 15 years younger or something, that youngster's going to have more energy and more strength, but that older boxer has more experience, and the technique he uses is um, what would the word be? Perfected. So even if it's like a smaller person and they perfect, like martial artists perfecting a technique, and that's how he likened it to a older narcissist. They perfect their technique. So something that used to take more energy to try and annihilate another human being, they find ways to um, do the same amount of damage with less energy, you know. And that to me, that's like a keto. That's a martial art where you use the person's body weight or movements against them. Say, for instance, I had somebody charging me. I stepped to the side and used their body weight to throw them, you know, and they went sailing like Superman. Boy, were they surprised. You know, that type, that's a keto or hop keto. There's specifically two different. Hop keto has touching movement, perhaps impactful, and a keto or aikido has, you're not really touching, but your movement is what throws them off. So it's about like they're about ready to cremate you and you move and they fall on their face, you know. So it's an art, you know. So, but my favorite is still judo. It's the base, it's the beginning, and it's still the best because from even practicing with kung fu and taekwondo, which is really lethal, that's some badass shit. But still, my judo won over that. So simple sometimes, and that's the base. Is simple is sometimes best, you know. Let's put it this way: when I get scared, I might do something about it. You know, that's because I'm not getting hurt no more. That's just my life, you know. You know, what can I say? And I wasn't always like that. I'd sit there and get beat on. I even had like so-called friends or kids out on the playground, boys and girls, all jump on me at the same time or whatever, thinking it was funny, you know. But yeah, whatever, you know. It just wouldn't happen no more. It wasn't no, I mean, um, always like that or anything. And the most damage that I ever had done to me was people that I let close enough to me. If I was in a dojo and sparring with somebody, I would expect they're going to try and do something to me because that's why we're there, you know. But being in a peaceful situation that could turn violent is where I've gotten hurt the worst and did not defend myself. Well, after a while, that gets to be a bit much on your body. So you either get out of the situation if you can, and if you can't, then you will fight. Well, I learned how to fight, and I swore the next time that I saw, like, say, for instance, my adopted father lay a hand on my mother, that I was going to take him out, you know, and that was why I started defending myself, you know. So, yeah, big people trying to hurt little people is not cool. I mean, I wasn't little, but I am talking about my brother was 6'4" and some pushing 200 pounds, solid muscle. My dad was 350 pounds, 5'9", solid muscle. Ran a jackhammer and, you know, very active and strong. Both of them were horribly strong. So, and I knew, well, when I was 12, I finally beat my dad in arm wrestling. But that was just strength and determination from God, I think. Like, just, I really do not know where that came from. I'm talking biceps like this, like scary badass. But then again, there's technique, you know. So locking, not necessarily locking your elbow, that can take your elbow out. But when you get their wrist and bring them down and in and down again, kind of, so like you got them like this, and then you're bringing them towards you and down. You know, it works. So, well, I'm gonna let you go. Thank you for joining me. If my sister is watching this, Sissy, Ebony, I'm sorry about Stuart, your goat, passing away. Really. I don't know if you're going to get another little baby, but I'm not a big goat person. I raised a baby deer. They're very similar, and sheep. But I had a baby sheep, a lammy. But yeah, I'm really sorry for you. I know losing in human, uh, animal, it's not, to me, it never has seemed natural, and that's why another strong thing that screams our spirits inside here are learning here, and we can recreate ourselves again. But we need to learn how to treat people decently in this world to be able to do that. I think just the right way that we're supposed to. I mean, we can be the sweetest person in the world like you are, but there's still different things in our lives that we have to learn to carry on and help other people in our lives. So, um, and that isn't directed, that's for myself too. Um, different ways I can go about things that are more acceptable to God. So that's just, we're all there. So, yeah, my condolences to anybody that's had losses, which I'm sure you all have. So, okay, everybody, thanks again for joining me from Pine City, Minnesota, USA. Peace, love you very much. Thanks, everybody.